I feel like a broken record. I keep saying it over and over and over again, but I want you to experience this. I have so much excitement watching this back because I have the memory of where this student's language was once upon a time. For him to be having this current conversation with me, it's ginormous progress, and I want you to have this same feeling for yourself with your child. And I know that declarative language can be a tool in your toolbox that you can use that will certainly get you there. Hello, 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 YouTube fam. I'm back again. Week 2 of our declarative language examples. If you saw last week's video, if you didn't, don't worry. It's YouTube. It lives there, rent-free for you to see whenever you would like, but I will do you a favor, make it easy for you to find and put it at the end of this video. So watch till the end if you want an easy way to find last week's video, just saying. And while you're at it, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe and share so that we can grow this channel and get this information in front of everybody that needs to see it, and we can really help create a more inclusive world for all of our autistic loved ones. I'm not going to go too much further in depth as to what we're doing here because I really want to just focus on the examples. But just to give a little bit of a recap, we're talking about declarative language, which is when we use comments and statements primarily to talk to our children, to the individual that we're speaking to, as opposed to questions we already know the answers to, or giving directions. If you want the longer explanation, go check out last week's video, the declarative language explanation or examples, part 1. I am showing you examples from actual therapy sessions that I do with my students so that you can see declarative language in action, because I feel like that is the best way for you to get buy-in and really see in real time how powerful this strategy is. And it doesn't cost you anything to do. It just takes a little bit of practice and reteaching yourself and just really thinking about how you're stating things when you're talking to your child. We're going to go ahead and dive right in and watch this week's explanations of examples of declarative language in action. Enjoy. We're going to watch another session that I had with a different student. This student is middle school age, early high school age. And we are doing another executive functioning type of activity around time. We are working on calculating the span of time on a clock. Just to give you a little bit of context, let's just dive right in and see how I'm using declarative language with this student. So I'm ready for you to begin.
I'm ready too.
Okay. I said, I'm ready for you to begin. I didn't say, okay, begin, because that's a direction. I said, I'm ready for you to begin. This is also great if you have a child that likes to be in control, because notice it's an invitation. It's an invitation to begin. It's not a command or a demand to begin. I said, I'm ready for you to begin, and I'm waiting. That is a great declarative statement to invite your child to get going without giving a direction, and they still feel like they have that autonomy and they still feel like they have that control. And I'm pausing, I'm waiting, right?
Yeah.
That's a big part of declarative language.
I don't know where. I don't know where it. I don't know where the hands are.
Okay, so there we go. This is another beautiful side effect of declarative language. I'm just pausing. I can see that he might be having a difficult time, but I'm not sending him a lifeline. And the result was he is now advocating for what he needs. He is initiating asking for help. He's saying, I don't, and he had a little bit of a hard time knowing how to formulate that question, but that's okay. I just waited it out and waited for him to figure out how to organize his thoughts to ask what he wanted to ask. And you'll see in just a minute, I ask a clarifying question, and it's a genuine question because I'm genuinely trying to clarify what he's asking me. But the beauty of the pause is that now he's getting practice in initiating asking for help. Does your child have a hard time initiating asking for help? I wouldn't be surprised if your answer is yes, because that's common for a lot of autistic children or autistic young adults or autistic adults out in the world. Doing things like this gives your child the opportunity to practice advocating, asking for help, and asking for the support that they need, which is such a huge factor in success later on in life and being as independent as possible. Let's keep watching. You don't know where to draw the hands on the clock, you mean?
I don't. Uh,
Okay, so if we are counting time on the clock, we need to start at the beginning of class. Okay, so did you see how long it took me to get that question out? And again, it's because I am sitting there thinking in my head, how can I say this in a declarative way? This is an effortful way of speaking. That's why I say it's simple, but it's not easy. But I took my time to get it out and to say it in a declarative way. And again, the added benefit is that it just helps to increase the amount of time that my student has to process what I'm saying, or your child will have to process. I'm making the statement in a very slow way, and it's going to be much easier for my student to process. So let's just take it back just a little bit to review what I said. There I am pondering, how am I going to say this in a declarative way? We need to start at the beginning of class. We need to start at the beginning of class. At the beginning of the social studies class. Okay, so then I am giving him more information because I could tell that he needed a little more scaffolding. I didn't jump in, I didn't rescue him with a question or a direction. I gave him more information at the start of which class? At the start of social study class.
Beginning of social studies. I know the beginning of social studies.
Oh, I know the beginning of social studies.
I remember doing it.
I remember doing it. Listen to that great language that is coming out of my student. Oh, I know that. I remember it. He's using words like know, remember. ABA is not going to get that type of language out of your child, folks. It just isn't. These are thought-based words. I know when this is. I remember what we did. This is because of declarative language that he is responding to me in this manner. I'm sorry. I am like really excited. I get excited hearing my student talk like this. This is an individual that I've worked with since he was 6, okay? And to hear him saying sentences like, I know when the class starts, I remember doing this, is huge. He's come such a long way. So I get really, really pumped and excited when I hear this type of language, and I bet you would too, coming from your child. Let's keep watching.
It said an error occurred.
Oh, okay. Thank you for telling. More advocating. He's telling me, he's initiating what happened because I'm pausing. I'm just waiting. I'm not bombarding him with more language, more auditory information. I'm just waiting for him to figure it out. And as such, he comes out with language. Oh, it says an error occurred. And let me tell you, that was not always an easy thing for this student to do, to initiate. We would have to ask in the past, like, what's happening? He wouldn't volunteer that information in the past. Listen to what he's just volunteering in this, because I'm using declarative statements and I'm waiting. The pause, I cannot say it enough, you guys. The pause is magical. You have to pause more with your children when you're talking. It's so important. And once you do it, and once you notice the impact it has, it's going to grate on your nerves a little bit when people don't pause with your child. You're going to be like, whoa, 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 just like give them a minute, because you'll see how powerful it is and how much your child is able to come out with when given the space and the time. Let's keep going.
I should reload.
Okay. Yeah, I just saw your little animal picture go away. Okay, so that's a declarative statement. I saw your little animal picture go away. We're using Google Jamboard, which is going away in October, and I'm so sad. But I digress. We're using Google Jamboard, and when I give the link to my students and they come in, Google gives like, you've probably seen this, a little circle emblem, and it says like anonymous zebra, anonymous unicorn, anonymous giraffe. That's what I'm talking about when I said I saw your little animal go away. We could have chosen not to respond to that at all, but listen to what happens. We end up having this really cool, robust conversation together.
Yeah, I just saw your little animal picture go away.
But don't worry, there's gonna be a new animal picture.
Ooh, I wonder what you're going to be this time.
Don't worry, it's going to be another new animal picture. And then I say, I wonder what it's going to be this time. So I'm not asking him, what do you think it's going to be? That would be asking a question and demanding a response. I'm just saying, ooh, in a really excited tone, like, ooh, I wonder what it's going to be. And now I'm asking him to use prediction skills, right? To predict what's going to happen in the future, which again is a skill that's challenging for this particular student. But we're doing it in such a natural, fun way that it's coming out really easily for him.
How about a rainbow?
How about
I've never seen a rainbow before in here.
Okay, fine, I was kidding.
Well, you never know. Maybe it could be. Oh, it's a manatee.
Man, I stumped myself.
And it ends with that adorable statement that I never would have gotten if I was just bombarding him with questions and directions. He said, man, I stumped myself. So by using declarative language and allowing for pauses, his humor came out. And we've really got this very natural conversation about something that just was a happy accident that happened in our session. And it ended up with this adorable statement, man, I stumped myself because his prediction was wrong. I've seen this with my students in the past with making inferences and predictions. It can be challenging for my students sometimes because they're afraid of making the mistake. Do you have this with your child? They're afraid of being wrong. Look how low stakes it was in this case. He made the prediction. It ended up not being correct. And he goes, oh, well, I guess I stumped myself. So it's really teaching him how to predict, how to embrace the unknown, how to have coping skills when it wasn't correct, and in a very naturalistic, lighthearted way. All right, let's watch a little bit more of this session.
Anonymous manatee. Okay.
Just paused and waiting, letting him figure it out. And now I can see that he's working and that he's not checked out, and he is definitely still engaged in the activity.
Okay, so as I was telling, I was confused on where to begin. But social studies begins at 1:30.
Exactly. So it sounds like you're not confused anymore.
It just popped into my head.
What was he just doing? He was recalling a past event. It was a recent past event, but he is talking about a recent past event and narrating a recent past event because I just gave him the space. I just zipped it. And I was waiting. I trusted that he knew what he was doing and that if he needed help, he would let me know. And he said, as I was saying, I was confused. He's talking about the past tense using a thought word. I was confused. I was confused because I didn't know when social studies start, but now I remember it starts at 1:30. And so I said a declarative statement, sounds like you're not confused anymore. Listen to this really great language that's happening because I'm just giving declarative language and pausing. to see what my student gives me. I feel like a broken record. I keep saying it over and over and over again, but I want you to experience this. I have so much excitement watching this back because I, in my head, have the memory of where this student's language was once upon a time. And for him to be having this current conversation with me, it's ginormous progress. And I want you to have this same feeling for yourself with your child. And I know that declarative language can be a tool in your toolbox that you can use that will certainly get you there or get you much, much closer to there. So let's keep watching.
Remembered?
Yeah, I did remember.
Cool.
Is this 1:30? I'm confused.
So that says 6:05.
We don't want that.
I think you have your hands mixed up.
I hate when that happens.
So he asked me, I was just waiting it out. So he's drawing hands on a blank face of a clock right now. And he is having some challenges with remembering which one's the minute hand and which one's the hour hand. And he says, is this 1:30? I used a declarative statement to let him know what he actually produced on the clock. I said, that says 6:05. We don't want that, right? And so I thought that maybe he might need some more information. So I said, I think maybe you got your hands mixed up. That is giving him more support and clues in a declarative way that he has the hour hand pointing to the 6 and the minute hand pointing to the 1. So it says 6:05 rather than 1:30. Let's see how I use declarative language to get him to where he needs to be. Okay, so then there was a long period of wait that I'm not going to subject you to. So let's just get to the goods here. I'm watching what he's doing on the screen.
There you go. Now that looks like 1:30 because the short hand is pointing to the 1 and the long hand is pointing to the 6.
Imagine doing solstice at 6:05 p.m.
I would not want to do that.
Why?
That's too late.
It is too late.
You know what would be even worse than 6:05 p.m.?
What will be?
6:05 a.m. Oh, no, thank you. I want to be asleep at 6:05 a.m.
That's when I'm up.
Oh, you wake up at that time?
No, I wake up at 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. I try to wake up at 6 o'clock. It doesn't always work.
They have to be just like me. I'm an expert at sleeping.
Oh, I'm good at sleeping. It's the waking up part that's hard.
I'm also an expert on it.
You're also an expert on waking up. Okay.
Yes.
Impart your wisdom upon me.
Gotta stretch.
Oh, that's how you wake yourself up, by stretching?
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to try that tomorrow morning. See if it works. I do this instead.
What do you look like one?
What?
Look.
I curl up under the blankie.
It looks like you're in bed, man.
I know. That's why I'm not good at waking up.
Oh, man.
All right, great. So we have the start time.
Look at that beautiful conversation we just had. It was so beautiful. I couldn't even push pause and comment on it and interrupt it. For the most part, we were exchanging comments with each other. And again, I don't want you to think, okay, well, this is just a very conversational child and my child isn't there. This child was not always as conversational like this. We were not able to always have an exchange like this where I'm just making comments and he's able to respond in kind. This has been an evolution over time. And again, another student that I have been using declarative language with for a very long time. And so he is practiced to responding to this type of communication. But look at all of the beautiful language that came out of that interaction. If I had only been asking him questions or giving him directions, we would never have had that beautiful exchange that happened.
All right, great. So we have the start time on the clock. It's 1:30.
Yes.
Now we can do our clock counting.
Okay, so now I'm not saying, okay, do your clock counting. Okay, now we have to count the clock. I say, now we can do our clock counting. I'm just making a statement.
All right. Let's get ready. But I don't remember where to begin.
Okay, so look what's happening. I'm pausing. Now we can do our clock counting. That's all the information I gave him. And then what does he do? Again, he initiates, he advocates for himself, he initiates help. I don't know where to begin.
Well, I always start by tracing the minute hand, because wherever the minute hand is, that's when right now is.
Right now?
Rather than saying you have to begin on the minute hand, start where the minute hand is. That's imperative language. That's giving him the direction. Trace the minute hand. That's how you have to start. Instead, I said, I always start by tracing the minute hand. So again, we're also teaching perspective taking when we're using a lot of I language like this. He has to put himself in my shoes and take my perspective, because that's the perspective I'm speaking from. I always trace the minute hand because the minute hand is showing us where right now is.
So that's always going to be where the time starts, is where the minute hand is.
I'm guiding him to start on the minute hand just by making declarative statements. That's it. I'm not giving him any specific direct instruction to start on the minute hand. I'm just commenting on that is how to do it. And it's up to him to problem solve that that's the way I'm suggesting that he does it. We're waiting.
I'm at this start time, yo.
Okay.
He's just keeping me posted.
I'm gonna count to 5. 5. And
he's counting around the clock, which is what he's been taught to do.
20. 25. 30. 35.
Oh!
What?
I think you went too far.
Oh.
Okay, so again, I just said, oop, I think you went too far. Giving him information. That's a declarative statement. I didn't say stop. No, you didn't do it right. Go back. I didn't say you have to stop on the 6. I said, oop, I think you went too far. Now he has to problem solve where he should have stopped and that he needed to stop, or even just understanding what the oop is working on him understanding more subtle conversational cues. When I say, oh, that is giving a lot of information that can be really challenging for some autistic learners to interpret. Not all children, depending on their age, their ability levels, their cognitive levels, their language skills, would be able to interpret the ooh as they need to stop. There was something that didn't go right in that interaction. That's why it's really important to speak in this way to our students or to your children, because you're giving him or her practice in reading those more subtle conversational clues, which is what is so incredibly challenging for a lot of our autistic neurodivergent learners. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit through the next part of the session. There was a lot of pausing and me watching the Google Jamboard lag to see what he did on Google Jamboard, and he ended up erasing what he had done because of my declarative response. I said, oops, I think you went too far, and so he had erased what he was drawing on the clock because he knew he had made a mistake. So let's move forward from here.
Erase it.
Okay.
I was gonna do escape.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you how with my blue highlighter how I would count around the clock. Okay.
Okay.
So I start in the middle of the clock. I trace the middle hand, the minute hand, and then I count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so that means that now my minute hand is pointing to the 12.
He was right with me watching what I was doing. And did you hear him chime in at the end? I said, so that means the minute hand is pointing at the 12. I'm just commenting on what I'm doing. And you start to hear him make connections. Listen to what he says next, even though you're going to hear him say something incorrect, but he's starting to make connections between what we're doing and figuring out the ultimate question, which was, how long is social studies? That's what we're trying to count right now. Social studies started at 1:30 and it ends at 2. So we're trying to answer the question, how long the social studies was on the schedule that we were working on. You hear him start to make those connections just based on my demonstration and the declarative language. So let's listen.
So that means so that means special ed will begin at 12 o'clock.
I couldn't understand what?
So that means special ed will begin at 12 o'clock or 45 minutes.
He was talking about the next class. With this activity, we were trying to figure out what time the class after social studies starts. So he was saying, okay, that means, I forget, special areas starts at 12 o'clock and it was 45 minutes long, or social studies was 45 minutes long, I think, was what he was trying to say. Even though that was incorrect, the thing that I'm so excited about is he was using his problem solving skills and making connections that I was not explicitly asking him to make in that moment. I just can't say it enough. This is the power. These are the positive side effects of using declarative language. We're going to watch the last little bit of this video to see how I use declarative language to guide him to the correct answer.
12 o'clock, because remember, the time was 1:30 when we started. So if the minute hand is now pointing at the 12, then that means that the hour hand has moved to the next hour.
So that declarative statement, that means the hour hand has moved to the next hour. I didn't say that means now the hour hand is pointing at the 2, or I didn't say, so where is the hour hand pointing? Or I didn't say point to where the hour hand is pointing now. I said that means the hour hand has moved to the next hour. And it's a declarative statement that is giving him more information, more support, so that he can continue to problem solve that the time has now become 2 o'clock at the end of social studies. Let's keep watching. And the pause. I said,
I was thinking about something else.
So it's not.
He said, I was thinking about something else. So maybe he was advocating for himself again, that, oh, his wrong answer wasn't actually about this. He was talking about something different. Maybe he's just trying to cover up his mistake. I don't know, but it doesn't matter because he is advocating for himself. He's letting me know what's going on inside of his brain. That is really hard for a lot of my students, for a lot of autistic learners. I bet it's probably hard for your child too. But when we get used to speaking in this way, not only are we modeling how to talk about our own internal dialogue, but we are encouraging and fostering an environment that enables your child to talk about their internal dialogue too.
12 o'clock when special areas starts.
It's 2 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock. Great. Okay,
Yeah,
let's put
so
that
I
up.
just said it's not 12 o'clock when special areas starts. That's a statement. So I'm letting him know that 12 o'clock isn't the answer without saying that's not it. And I'm not saying, so what time does special areas start? Because that would typically be the go-to for many teachers or for an adult assisting with a child with this type of activity. I said, so special areas doesn't start at 12 o'clock. And I had that inflection, then my pitch went up at the end, right? So now he's learning to tune into my tone of voice, that I am suggesting that I'm looking for more from him, that no, it wasn't 12 o'clock. And when I say it like that, in your head, you can hear the assumption is it's not 12 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock. So it's almost like I'm kind of giving him, through my intonation, indirect clues that he needs to interpret and problem solve, that I need him to fill in what the correct time is, and he correctly interprets what I'm saying in this declarative way and comes out with the correct answer after all. As you can see, this activity may have taken a little bit longer than it would have if I was asking questions I already knew the answer to or giving him explicit instructions. It might have taken longer. However, he has gotten more out of this activity because I did not just give him those answers. I did not explicitly tell him what to do. I guided him to figuring out on his own what to do. I am teaching him how to problem solve. I'm teaching him how to think for himself. I'm teaching him how to make connections from things that happened 5 minutes ago to what's happening now. Those things are so hard to teach. And just simply by changing the way you speak to your child, you can teach them all of these things that are really, really challenging to teach and for your child to learn, but so, so vital for them to use so that they can be successful out in the real world, which I know is what you're really looking for. Well, there you have it. Another round of examples of declarative language in action. I really hope that you learned a lot from this two-part video series of how you can make declarative language work for you, how to use it, the different ways you can use it, the really powerful impact it can have on your child's communication and your child's language. And if you have any comments or questions about what you saw, please let me know in the comments below this video. If you have requests of things you would like me to make videos on in the future, let me know. The more you let me know these things, the more you engage with me, the more I can put out content that's really relevant and helpful to what you need. And while you're at it, just go ahead and click the like button and subscribe and share the video with all of your family and friends so we can get this information out into the world and make the world a more inclusive place for all autistic individuals. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you soon. Bye.